Welcome to the Learning and Development Channel, where you can learn, lead, and make a difference.
We now proceed to the discussion on the hiring process, contracts, nature of employment, and salary under the ARAL program.
So, without further ado, let's start, no? The hiring process and the engagement concerns. So, everything, no, yung ating hiring process ay natin nagsisimula sa call, no? Definitely. No, ang ating mga HRMOs ay medyo familiar niyan since nagko-conduct na sila ng recruitment. So, for this, upon determination ng need ng ating mga tutors, yung ating school head po ay maaaring mag-i-issue po ng memo at call for ARAL tutors, no? So yung magiging posting natin for the call of ARAL tutors should indicate itong following, no? Yung school kung saan po sila ay ma-assign, yung functions, nature of engagement, corresponding incentives, kailangan po ito, yung diniscuss po kanina ni Carla, kailangan po yun ay posted ho, no? Para alam po ng ating mga interested ARAL tutors kung ano yung pinapasok po nila, ano po yung anong nature of engagement yung magiging ARAL tutor. Importante rin po na posted din po yung qualification, yung selection criteria, ano yung mga requirements, ano yung mga kailangan nilang isubmit, no? At yung deadline ng submission ng documents. And if kaya po, yung pati yung timeline, no, ng selection activities. I believe our HRMOs are quite familiar dito sa mga nakalagay dito na bullet points. It's because no, parang kakahaling tulad din niya yung nasa DO7 natin kung paano tayo nagpo-post po no, ng position. Halos ganun din for ARAL tutors. Kailangan yung mga features na to, yung information na ito ay visible. No? Okay? Sige, next slide tayo. So, sino ba yung pwedeng maging ARAL tutor? No? So, let's drill down. No? Sino yung pwedeng maging ARAL tutor? Okay? So, next slide. Just bear with us. Medyo may lag time lang po sa atin. Sige, next. So we'll start with the minimum qualifications ng pagiging isang ARAL tutor. So this is pursuant to DO number 18 series of 2025. So ang minimum qualification natin ay una ay merong professional or education background. It could be, as defined by Carla earlier, yung teachers, para-teachers, pre-service teachers, non-licensed graduates, pwede, retired professional teachers, other licensed professionals, yung mga graduate po ng college, and others pa na pwedeng ma-identify ng DepEd. So una, professional or education background. Next po tayo. Yung isa naman na titingnan natin na minimum qualification ay merong competency in teaching, no? So importante po na merong merong skill on teaching kasi we are interacting with our learners, no? So to ensure na quality service and quality yung makukuha ng mga learners natin, it's important na merong competency in teaching. Sabi nga nila, iba yung skill of teaching, no? So importante na merong ganito ang ating mga teachers at kaya mag-handle ng kanilang teaching area. Kung sila ay math ba, sila ay science ba, o sila ay reading, ay dapat kaya po nila. Next. Yung third po ay, so okay, on the third minimum qualification is training. So kailangan mag-undergo ng ating tutor sa mandatory training, lalo na customized specialization. Ano bang specialization niya? Like I said, is it math, is it English, is it math, is it science or reading? No. Na itong mandatory training ito ay ipoprovide ng DepEd or ng any recognized or accredited training institution na maaring makipag-partner si DepEd din. Ito yung mga ito yung parang mga usually topics po no na tinatakal po no. So, learning-centered pedagogy, psychological first aid, handling learners with diverse needs, effective use of educational technologies and materials. So nakikita natin yung itong mga specialization na to, ay itong mga topics na to, ay yung we believe that it's important for an ARAL tutor to have, no? Because doon lang natin kasi ma-achieve yung desired learning outcome natin eh. If we cannot have, cannot train our tutors sufficiently, baka hindi natin ma-achieve yung desired learning outcome natin, no? Okay, yung next naman, yung fourth. Yeah, this is the last minimum qualification. Yeah. Fourth is minimum good moral with good moral character. So importante po na meron pong good moral character po ito. Ibig sabihin, there's no record of any criminal offense or behavior na magiging doubtful sa pakipag-interact sa ating mga learners. May I reiterate, no, na itong ARAL tutors ay directly interacting with our learners, no. So importante din na in good moral character at walang record na that would raise concerns, no, when interacting with minors, no, and with our learners as well. So there are four, no. So education, yung education, competency in teaching, training, and with good moral character. Later on we will mas i-discuss natin ito isa-isa, no. I think sana yung ating mga HRMOs dito, yung dapat dun sa mga titing natin sa mga qualifications ay lagi may MOVs, lagi may means of verification. So later on, we will discuss naman doon. Next, meron naman tayong preferred qualification. So as applicable, meron din tayong, kung meron tayong minimum qualification, meron naman tayo kung ano yung preferred natin na may qualification. Sana ang ating isang aral tutor, no? An ideal aral tutor. So una, experience. It's better, it would be better if the aral tutor ay may experience na sa pag-tutor, pag-instruct ng mga remedial classes, no, yung mga naghahabol, and formal teaching. And kumbaga, nakapagturo talaga in front of a class, in front of learners, no. At second ay para ma-determine ito, no, if meron ba talagang experience in tutoring or may nakapagturo na, no, yung isang applicant or meron na siya competency in teaching, ang SDOA ay pwedeng mag-administer ng further assessments pa. To determine if meron talagang competency in teaching, no? At to validate that if may experience talaga si applicant. Yung next naman ay isang preferred ay residence, no? So it would be preferably if doon sa barangay ng ating school ay doon din naninirahan si tutor. Like we said, no, our aral tutors are, on job order, no? So it would be gusto rin isa dito ay dapat accessible din kasi sa kanila, hindi mahirap sa kanilang pumunta sa school. At hindi rin, and for practical purposes din, lalo na ngayon na medyo tumataas po ang ating ating gasolina, no, at ang pamasahe. So it would be preferably na within doon sa community na naninirahan si aral tutor o si applicant. Sige, yung third ay yung iba pang qualifications na pwedeng mag-figure out o ma-determine ng ating SDO. It could be, yun nga, may specific na specialization or may competency si tutor sa ating learning area, such as reading, science, or math. Or may iba pang specific considerations na si school ay pwede mag-determine. No? Sino ba yung nag-determine later on? Madi-discuss naman natin yan. Okay? So yun yung mga preferred qualifications natin. We have experience, yung residence, no, yung locality kung saan nanginirahan si tutor, at iba pang other qualifications na may deem necessary ng ating SDO. Okay, so let's go dun sa sino ba yung pwedeng maging aral tutor? Sino ba? So sa pagkipag-engage at sa pagsaselect ng ating mga tutors, ito yung mga list ng mga sino ba yung pwedeng maging aral tutor. So for this, we can divide the list into two groups, no? So yung unang tatlo ay highlighted in green, and yung isa ay highlighted in green. Sige, yung sa taas muna. So for this, ang pwedeng maging aral tutors ay si DepEd teaching personnel. So yung existing DepEd teaching personnel natin, pwede silang maging aral tutors. Tapos, yung second naman ay sino pa yung mga remaining na LET eligible applicants at na RQA na rin sila, no? So ibig sabihin na-rank na sila sa registries of qualified applicants. At yung third ay iba pang LET eligible teacher applicants sa RQA na hindi nakapasok sa cutoff score pursuant to our existing DepEd hiring guidelines, no? So ito yung unang tatlo, no? Existing DepEd teaching, LET eligible na nasa RQA, and LET eligible din pero did not meet yung cutoff score, no? Na nasa RQA sila, hindi nila na-meet yung cutoff score. So that's the first three. Yung the others, ito naman, yung mga naka-blue. So yung pang-apat ay yung iba pang LET eligible na doon sa locality na residing within the area of the school. It may be mga teachers natin from the private school. Maaari kung may mga state use o local state use and local universities and colleges sa locality. Yung mga LET eligible natin ng mga professors, teachers, sa mga SOCs and LOCs, pwede rin yun. At iba pang mga teacher practitioners. Okay, so thank you po for that. So other teaching practitioners within din sa barangay. Hindi pa pwede. Yung mga nag-retired na natin mga professional teachers. Opportunity to din sa kanila to go back sa teaching, no? We also have our para teachers, no? na meron ng experience and meron competency para mag-provide ng academic support sa ating learners. For para teachers, meron tayong kaakibat din na requirement for this. Later on, we'll discuss further on this. But yes, ang para teachers, pwede rin maging aral tutor. Pwede rin yung mga non-licensed natin na education graduates, yung EDUC graduates, but wala pa silang license. Meron naman yung mga pre-service teachers din natin, pwede rin po sila. Kasi sila ay, they are also undergoing the training to become teachers. At yung 9 and 10 ay yung iba pang licensed professionals and other individuals pa sa community na pakikitaan ng ating schools and SDOs na qualified and of good character. Sabi nga natin importante yung of good character and competent to do the job as an aral tutor. Okay? So, let's focus first doon sa mga naka-green. Okay, yung next. So, yung mga naka-green, yung deputy teaching personnel, let eligible applicants na nasa RQA, at iba pang let eligible applicants na nasa RQA pero hindi na-meet yung cut-off score. Basically, ito yung mga let eligible natin na mga applicants ay reminder lang na hindi na nila kailangan mag-undergo ng buong assessment na later on i-discuss ko. Okay? So, sila ay exempted na to undergo the whole assessment. Ang need lang nila ay to submit the Annex A na sufficient na yon para may part na sila nung selection na pwede na silang mapili. Isa na sila sa pwedeng mapili para maging aral tutor. No? Later, papakita natin yung Annex A. Is basically the expression, template ng letter of intent. Okay? Okay. So let's focus now, next, yun yung other cluster, Other cluster ng pwede maging aral tutors. So for this, yung mga let eligible, yan yung 4 to 10, lahat ng yan ay kailangan pong dumaan ng assessment and selection process. Those na magka-qualify ay kailangan mag-undergo ng assessment. At bukod doon, sa 4 to 10 na to, na kailangan nila dumaan ng assessment, ay kailangan din nila mag-submit. Importante, mandatory na kailangan nila mag-submit ng 2 dokumento. Una, yung Annex A, which is yun nga yung template ng letter of intent to become an aral tutor. And second is yung PDS, We highly encourage na to use please the 2025 revision, the revised 2025 PDS, as per the 2025 ora-ora, kailangan po ba ng work experience sheet? Yes, pwede po na meron tayong work experience sheet. Maganda po na may work experience sheet then para din po ma-determine ng ating screening committee, which later madidiscuss po kung ano ba yung mga naging engagement ni the applicant. So dalawa yung importante, yung Annex A at saka yung PDS, Yan yung mga mandatory for those applicants natin na magka-classify sa 4 to 10. So let's just have a quick look nung annex, So ito yung Annex A. So they just have to input, the information in the corresponding field. Yan. So overview na rin siya ng kanilang qualification. So they just have to fill this out and then sign it. So that's already their Annex A. Then, additional, syempre, yung PDS natin na version 2025. Okay, so, bukod dun sa mga mandatory documents na sinabi natin, which is Annex A and the PDS, I will discuss also the other documents that may be required to validate. Sabi nga natin, di ba, kanina yung minimum qualification, hindi malalaman lang natin yan if na-meet yung qualification if merong document. So, it may be required by the school head or the screening committee itong mga documents na to to validate further yung qualification. Sa DO7, alam ng mga HRMO sa atin, tawag dito MOPs, parang MOPs. So, sige, for this, for the licensed teachers and other licensed professional to validate na sila ay talaga may lisensya, ang pwede dyan, photocopy na pumasa sila sa LEP o sa any board exam or bar exam for that matter, or copy of the eligibility, or madali, yung ID mismo na sila ay isang professional, yung PRC ID, pwede rin yun, a photocopy of that. For the para-teachers, para ma-determine natin, validate, para-teacher to, permit naman sa PRC. So our para-teachers are permitted to teach, to practice, pero meron siyang permit na ini-issue sa PRC. So it's other way to validate the, if talagang para-teacher si teacher. Next is, yan. Papalagi ba validate of good moral character ang ating aplikante? Ano yung mga pwede? Pwede original copy ng certificate of good moral character? no? Especially for our pre-service teachers. So, sa mga TEIs, yung mga SLOOKs and looks natin, nag-i-issue ng Certificate of Good Moral Character, yung GMC, yung tatawagin nila yan. Tapos, if hindi naman sila mga pre-service teachers, mga other individuals, pwede yung barangay clearance. May nag-i-issue si barangay clearance. Nag-i-issue din ang ating mga barangays ng clearance of good moral character ang ating residente. Pwede rin yun. Signed by the barangay captain. Yan. Yan yung mga pwede nating ipasubmit na documents to validate if of good moral character. No? Diba? Next naman, yung validation of education. Sure ba tayo na si teacher ay may competency in teaching? Talaga ba siya ng bachelor's degree? Talaga bang graduate siya sa ganitong education, ganitong degree? Ang pwede natin i-submit, pwede natin pasubmit dyan ay yung definitely TOR. Pwede. Photocopy ng TOR, photocopy ng grade, or photocopy ng kanyang any academic record to certify sa ganito siyang educational attainment. Pwede yon. Yung next naman ay trainees. Pero sabi natin na talagang maaring hindi siya graduate ng ganitong education, pero may training siya sa pag-facilitate at pagtuturo. So, paano natin mag-validate yun? Nilagay niya sa PDS yun, may training siya. So, pwede natin pag-submitin ang ating aplikante ng certificate ng kanyang relevant training na kiniklaim niya na meron siya. Pwede yun. Ngayon, meron na tayong mga documents. No? So, siguro mapapansin nyo, no, yung sa guidelines natin, ang phrase ay may be required. May be required, may be collect, may be, no. Pero meron tayong mga mandatory. Bakit merong mga qualifications o may mga may mga documents na may be determined o may be required by the school head or the screening committee? It's because we want to we want to strike the balance of not na mas madaling mag-comply sa documents sa pagiging aral tutor, while at the same time we maintain the quality. No, we don't want to sacrifice the quality definitely, but we don't want to sacrifice also the convenience of applying to become aral tutor. Like what Sir Maui said earlier, ang dami nating kailangan din na tutor, ang dami nating aral learners, no. So we want the recruitment or the selection process, yung pag-comply ng mga documents to be to be easy, to be convenient, no, for our applicants, while at the same time we do not sacrifice the quality. Kasi pag once na for example pag once na we sacrifice the quality, no, so mahirapan naman tayo. Kasi 'di ba meron tayong desired learning outcomes at the end of the aral program after MOOC and EOC, 'di ba? Mayroon tayong desired learning outcome, and if we're going to sacrifice with quality, hindi naman natin ma-achieve 'yun. Hindi natin na-achieve yung gusto nating ma-achieve sa aral program, 'di ba? Pero pag once na very rigorous, very rigorous as DO7, no? Series of 2023, alam ng ating mga HRMOs 'yan, no? Yung pag-submit naman, you have to strike the balance. This is not a plantilla item, di ba? This is not a permanent item. But it's an endeavor, it's a fulfilling endeavor at the same time. No? Kaya we want it to be accessible. What I said at the same time, not sacrificing the quality. Sana na we are on the same page at we are on the same page doon, no? Yung ganun po. Sige, we have already the documents, no? So alam na ng ating mga applicants yung documents. Ano yung next step? So yung next step po is the submission of the application, no? So kaya na po sila magsasubmit, no? Kaya magsasubmit. Kanino? Rather. Magsasubmit po sila sa school head po, no? Submitted to the school head, supported by the school's AO2 or kung meron silang equivalent na staff for that. Yun po, may katulong si school head, no? School head at ang AO2 or its equivalent ang magko-conduct ng verification. So they should ensure the completeness and veracity of the documents. Yeah, like I said, pwede mag-set up ang ating mga schools ng online submission ng documents. So no problem with that. Okay, let's go. So how do we screen aral tutors? So we have the screening committee. So kanina nababanggit na si SC. So screening committee ay ito-constitute siya ng kada school district. Kada school district ay merong screening committee. Ganito yan. We know na may mga school district na masyadong malaki. No? So, yung PSDS natin ay pwedeng gumawa ng dalawang committees. Pwedeng elementary level, pwedeng secondary level. No? Depende sa needs ng district. No? Our SDS, our PSDS are mas well known sa contextual needs ng ating mga divisions, sa ating mga localities. They may form screening committees, no? Multiple screening committees. Depende doon sa need ng ating district. Okay? Question, sino po ang composition ng ating screening committee? No? Ang chairperson natin si PSDS. No? School head, hindi yan mawawala. Since sa kanya nagsasabit ang application, ang mga ating mga aplikante, part siya ng ating screening committee. And of course, administrative officer or other non-teaching personnel or support staff that the committee may elect as part of the screening committee. Ganun po. Okay. So yan yung ating screening committee. Ngayon ang tanong is ano ba ang ginagawa dapat ng screening committee? Meron pong apat, no? Apat po na kailangan gawin si screening committee. Una, to review. I-review application, ensure na kompleto, authentic, and with veracity yung documents. Basically. Review. Second, conduct the evaluation ng qualification. So yung documents, una. Second, yung documents versus the qualification, yun yung gagawin. Third, i-assess, if si applicant ay magiging si external tutor ay magiging qualified po ba? No? And fourth, ay i-finalize kung sino po yung magiging aral tutor natin. No? I-finalize yung list ng mga recommended aral tutors. So ganito yun. Una, review yung documents. Second, i-evaluate based on the qualifications. Next is i-compare, i-assess kung qualified. And fourth, ay Annex C. No? Finalize yung list of applicants na for recommendation. Ganun ho ang function ng screening committee. Okay, pakitaan natin yung Annex C. Ganyan ang Annex C. So, i-list down ho natin ang name of applicants, kasi mga basic information, ilagay natin ang qualification, ano yung result ng assessment, ano yung remarks, tapos, yan, ano yung recommendation screening committee, ganyan ho siya. No? So, yan po ang Annex C ho natin. So, ano yung so since na, si screening committee yung nagko-compare, nagko-check ng qualification, if qualified ba si applicant, ano yung mga pwede niyang, ano yung dapat i-conduct ng screening committee? Okay? Una is document review. Okay? So, sa una ang gagawin niya ay document review, i-check yung mga documents na sinabit ni applicant, maaari niyang in-upload sa online form. We should check if mayroon bang LEP, if may LEP, eligibility, if bachelor's degree ba siya, yung training, yung previous experience, such as tutoring, no? Ito yung mga preferred natin So, ito yung check din natin. So, we validate, ito yung documents, so sinasabi, ito yung PDS niya, ito yung sinasabi yung qualification niya, sa page 1, page 2, page 3, tapos, compare natin yung documents. O may training ba siya na talaga niyan? Graduate pa talaga siya ng ganyan. Etc. Okay? Ngayon, paano yung mga meron ng experience in work? Pwede naman na pag-submitin din ang ating applicants ang performance rating. If meron, ay pwede natin i-consider, tingnan kung paano nag-perform si applicant. Pero like I said, dalawa yung binabalanse natin. Yung accessibility to become an aral tutor, while at the same time, we do not sacrifice the quality of teaching that we want our aral tutor to demonstrate. Ganun yun. And yung fifth, iba pang qualification sa portfolio na maaring nakikitaan na need ng program or nakitaan na dineclare ni external applicant sa kanyang PDS that we want to validate further. So that's the una. That's the first, document review. Second, aring ko-conduct ay interview. For the interview, ay iko-conduct din po ng ating screening committee. No? Sa interview, ano ba ang need nating gawin, no, for the interview? For the interview, it's important na ma-assess natin yung fitness nila for the position. Talaga ba may good moral character? Ano ba talaga sila? And are they fit for the job as a tutor? No? Let's check, let's predict if based on these facts that we have, based on answering the questions, answering the questions of the applicant, ipapasya mo perform sa kanyang trabaho. The next is to validate din. If yung mga nakalagay sa papel ay totoo, no? To validate the qualification and credentials. Our HRMOs and our dito, no? Mga officials natin dito are quite familiar how to conduct the interview. But ito yung pinaka objective natin, no? We're going to conduct the interview. So it's two, document review and interview. Yun yung mga evaluative assessments na gagawin ng ating training committee. So after ng ating evaluative assessment, di ba nga po, ang context na natin ngayon ay si screening committee ay nakapag-come up na ng Annex C. Ano po ulit ang Annex C? Annex C po yung registry ng external aral tutor applicants that are recommended by the school. By the school and by the screening committee perhaps. Itong Annex C na ito, dito mamimili si SDS kung sino dito magde-decide sa SDS if sino yung mga i-recommend for aral tutors. Si SDS ang mag-approve na itong mga nasa itong Annex C kasi puro aplikante nakalista yan. Kung makita natin sa Annex C, just na template kanina, meron doon isang column, recommendation ni SDS. So, ibig sabihin, hindi, ang makukumpleto lang ang Annex C kapag na-fill out siya na ng SDS. Ano ba ang gagawin ng SDS? Mamimili siya doon sa registry. O alin doon? Yung sino-sino din yung recommended for aral tutor. No? So, ganun yun. Nakalista sila. Ngayon, at the end, kung nakapili na si SDS, paano natin malalaman kung sino talaga aral tutors? No? Bukod dun sa Annex C, nalalagay kung sino yung recommended, sa Annex D rin, ay ilalagay na rin natin kung sino-sino yung mga aral tutor at ano-ano yung mga learning areas nila. Ganun siya. Ganun yung proseso ng dokumento. So, once they fill out the Annex D, yan, pakita natin yan. Thank you. Ito yung Annex D. So, nakalagay na dito kung sino-sino na talaga yung aral tutors natin. Sino for reading, sino yung for math, sino for science. Kasi i-check natin kung non-DepEd is external or DepEd internal. So, i-check natin. Ilagay natin kung ano yung learning area specialization din. Okay? Sige, back lang tayo ng one slide. Yan. Yan. So, pagtapos na yung C and D natin, ano na mangyayari? So, kapag meron ng Annex D si SDS, no? Ang mangyayari niyan, upon receipt ng approval ay ang next noon, since alam na natin kung sino yung aral tutors, engagement na. No? Ibig sabihin, signing of of preparation of the contract na, which is the Annex E. Ganun na yung proseso. So per days, processing na tayo ng contract ng ating mga external aral tutors. So yun na yun. So ganun na yung next na gagawin. So pinakita na yung Annex D. Pakita lang natin overview yung Annex E. Yan. So for the Annex E, kung ano yung nasa guidelines lang din natin, ay naka-indicate lang din yan dito. But later on in the presentation, we will have a quick session lang naman on certain salient features or key provisions, no, na I think kailangan ma-emphasize with the engagement contract. Okay, summarize natin yung buong screening process, no. Sige, next slide. Medyo marami na, I know, no, the process, no. Pero ito yung summary, no. So una, we have two kinds of interested applicants. We have the external applicants and we have internal to DepEd, no. Like we said, the interested applicants, ang need lang sa kanila Annex A tapos na. 'Di ba? So hindi na nila need dumaan nung screening process, no? Na screening process kasi diretso na po siya doon sa selection and approval. At other hand, yung external, kailangan dumaan nung process. No? Tatanong nyo, bakit? Bakit yung DepEd ay diretso na, yung external kailangan dumaan? It's because we want to give credit to those who underwent already DepEd's hiring process. pursuant to existing the guidelines. Kasi the screening of that, hanggang makapunta ka sa RQA, ay talagang thorough process na siya of screening. And we are really confident and believe also that they are quality assured na, no? Ng ating quality assured na yung mga applicants na ito. Definitely our teachers, di ba? Kaya this is the Danas members versus to our interested applicants na external na we have to validate their qualification if it's up to the standard of DepEd. No? So basically, ang kailangan gawin ng interested applicants natin ay to submit. Okay? Next, ay pag-submit ay dadaan ng screening committee. So they will conduct the document review and the interview. Okay? So ano ang kailangan i-comply ano ang function ng screening committee? They have to validate and they have to recommend. Recommend who? Recommend to fill out the Annex C, no? Fill out yung Annex C na registry of all applicants, yung output ng screening committee, at yung registry ng mga aplikante na yon na nakalagay din yung mga qualification. Yun yung next stage. Si SDS po ang selection and approval. Kayo magsaselect alin dun sa mga aplikante sa registry ang pipiliin at i-approve natin to comply for Annex E, which is the contract already, the engagement contract, which is the Annex E. No? Annex E lang po ay for external, no? External lang po siya. Okay? Hindi po siya, that's the whole process of the selection para lang po masummarize natin yung discuss kanina. Okay? Heart lang ulit, heart react lang din po tayo if we're still yan. Thank you po everyone. Okay? Okay, let's sige, next po tayo. So we'll discuss naman ano yung mga considerations naman and guidelines naman sa paano pag yung aral tutor natin ay yung internal, no? Yung DepEd teaching personnel. So what are the arrangements with that? So for our DepEd teaching personnel, no? Ang importante po dito ay yung specialization ng teacher ay yung magiging pinaka-consideration natin sa pag-select at pag-assign ng teaching personnel, no? Yung specialization ng ating teachers. Okay, and bakit po importante yung specialization ng teachers? Kasi na we want to, ensure na ma-achieve natin yung ating expected learning outcomes, yung positive learning outcomes natin. And that's one of how we will achieve that. Isa pa is, isang consideration po ay paano po yung pagturo nila sa tutor class ng aral. Like, nasabi nga nung merong pwedeng, sa presentation nga ni Sir Maui and ni Carla, it varies yung length of, of engagement. Merong 45 to 50, merong around 1 hour, a maximum of 2 hours, so around 1 hour, ganyan. So, anong mangyayari doon, no? Paano natin ma-consider yung load na to? It's still part of their teaching load of the teachers, no? And it shall be, based dun sa actual hours na na-render ng ating aral tutor sa instruction. Paano nalalaman ayan yung actual hours? Later, we will discuss how to record the actual hours of tutorial instruction. Ngayon, let's go with the teaching load. No? For teachers na less than the 6 hours ang kanyang current teaching load for the school year, no? Sila yung prioritize na maging aral tutors. No? Kasi less than ang kanilang 6 hours, less than 6 hours ang kanilang teaching load. Paano po pag once na hindi aligned, okay ba less than 6 hours yung teaching load, gusto maging aral tutor ni teacher, so paano yun? Hindi nga lang aligned dun sa aral program yung dun sa learning area yung specialization ni teacher. Pwede siya ma-assignan ng pwede siya mabigyan ng support to teacher ancillary tasks. So to teacher, pwede siya ma-assignan ng mga teacher ancillary tasks, no? Na required sa mga teachers na nagtuturo. Hindi nyo pwedeng maging work or maging role yung mga teachers natin na less than 6 hours ang teaching load pero hindi nga lang align yung specialization nyo. And I think yung question din ng marami sa atin ay paano naman yung mga teachers na more than 6 hours na ang kanilang ang kanilang load, no? Paano naman sila? So for those na more than 6 hours na, ay yung number of teaching hours na kanilang na-render as aral tutor ay pakicredit siya as teaching overload pay. No? Pursuant to our existing guidelines naman, no? Sa DO number 5 of 2024. So, ganun po siya. We won't discuss that very specific, no? But ganun po siya. So, lahat po ng teaching load na more than 6 hours ay papasok po siya na teaching overload. Next is, how do we capacitate, our tutors? So, alam natin na sabi nga natin, we're very particular na may competency in teaching at kasi nga meron tayong expected learning outcome for our oral learners. So, how do we ensure na prepared ang ating mga tutors? Okay, next. So, definitely, the teachers, tutors, ay yung ating mga administrators dyan, yung ating master leaders ay magpo-provide tayo ng capacity building, ng mga trainings, ay tawag natin diyan mga PD activities, mga professional development activities, pursuant to PSST, it shall focus on the following. So yung apat na competencies, yung enhancing content knowledge, effective pedagogical strategies, and social emotional skills, and cultural competencies. Ang tanong po ay sino po mag-organize at sino po yung magko-conduct po ng mga capacity building and trainings po na ito. Ayan, okay, ito. So for this, ang mag-organize po ng orientation and training programs ay ang ating mga SDOs under the supervision of our ROs, syempre, and our COs. And on the other hand, definitely our NAIAP also could conduct capacity building din for our tutors. So hindi lang itong orientation training programs these PD activities are not limited only to our internal applicants or internal DepEd aral tutors, also with our external aral tutors, especially sila na maaring mas kailangan pa ng training for teaching. So si SDOs and si NAIAP po. May masasabi nyo, may mga documents, may mga administrative tasks yung maging aral tutor. So, ang question po natin is, sino po ang kasuporta ni aral tutor? Ito, ang suporta ni aral tutor po dito, ang ating support aids. Okay, na-discuss nagkaroon na ng overview earlier with Carla regarding the role of our support aids, So, so ang tanong po, magkaka-aral support aids ka, magkaka-aral tutors ka. Ang tanong ba, pwede po ba natin pagsabay na lang po ang posting or call for application? Definitely yes. Pwede na natin magkaroon ng isang call na lang for tutors and support aids. Kaya nga, kailangan nga lang po, as indicated, as I provided earlier, kailangan malinaw kung ano po yung nature of engagement and arrangement ng aral tutor at ng aral support aid. Para ma-differentiate yung dalawa. Okay? At ito I think napapansin nyo, walang Annex B because yung Annex B po is a specific letter of intent for aral support aids. Pakitaan lang natin siguro ng yan, naka-flash na rin pala. Ayan. So, dito naman nakalagay na dito yung mga tinitingnan natin. Doon sa letter of intent ay naka-indicate na rin dito yung mga gusto nating malaman agad about the applicant ng isang pagiging support aid. Okay. Ito yung mga let's discuss further the support aids, Is it yung pagdadaanan ba ng mga support aids ay same na pagdadaanan ng isang aral tutor? Let's see. It's important to know, especially our applicants, that the aral support aids are on voluntary basis. Ibig sabihin, currently ay voluntary basis po, later we'll delve on the remuneration and or incentives rather. Pero kailangan po malinaw na voluntary basis po ito. Ang ating support aid ay dapat physically fit. Physically fit dapat sila at kayang magawa ang makailangan ng mga administrative tasks. Isa rin of good moral character. They may not be interacting directly with our learners, pero kailangan pa rin na sila ay no criminal offense and suitable sila to work in a school environment, Talagang we really emphasize that. And yun, is ito, na may consent nila na they are willing to render voluntary service. Itong tatlo na to, importante yan, dapat kayanin i-performance task, dapat of good moral character, at dapat ay alam nila that this is voluntary basis and willing sila mag-render ng voluntary service. Supervise sila ng school head because ma-assign sila sa isang school. Okay, so ano yung proseso sa pagiging support aid? Provided that the support aid is on a voluntary basis, definitely the process is a lot easier and shorter. So, yung screening committee natin ay magpapasabit pa rin ng mga kailangan na documents. On the submitted documents, yung annex, meron pa ay annex B natin. Ayan. They may also conduct interviews and assessments. The screening committee shall determine, sila pa mag-determine ano yung kailangan na documents na isubmit, ano yung paano yung magiging strategy for interviews, dahil na kung marami ang ating mga aplikante, no? And other assessments na kailangan, the screening committee may determine, no? Alin yung kailangan nilang makita. Ano yung parameters that they need to determine if sino qualified na maging support aid. Ang tanong po, ang support aid po ba ay kailangan ng approval ni SDS? Kailangan po ba siya umabot sa level ng school division office? The answer is no. Because the final list of selected support aids ay finalized na po siya within the school. Shall be finalized by the school head. Okay? It's a lot shorter, no, compared sa pagiging aral tutor. No? We also recognize also because the aral support aids are on voluntary basis. But at the same time, we do not want also na masacrifice din naman yung quality of support na kailangan ng ating mga tutors, di ba? Sige. Ngayon, na-discuss earlier ni Carla na mayroong mga aral support aids tayo na from other agencies. As we know, the Department of Education is, having partnerships with other agencies as well. Not only to national government agencies, but also local government units also. No? So, the support aids ay pwedeng masponsoran ng other government agencies and partner institutions, not limited to government agencies, pwede NGOs, etc. No? At yung sponsor agency ay pwedeng sila na po yung mag-conduct ng evaluation and selection ng candidates. No? Because these other support aids that are sponsored by the government agencies has their own engagement arrangements and guidelines with their sponsor agency. Tapos, ang gagawin na lang po ng sponsor agency, for example, ni BBM or ni kung sino mang NGO na maaaring maging partner o LGU, ay mag-endorse na lang po ng list of qualified support aids sa SDO natin. Tapos, yung SDO natin, ay sila na po ang mag-endorse ay assign sa school. Ganun po siya. So, the sponsor agency should go directly to the SDO and the SDO will assign and endorse these support aids to the schools. Depende sa need. No? Maari kasi may school na kukunti lang ang support aids, maari namang may mga schools na sobra-sobra na yung support aids, ganon. No? So the support aids shall remain under the supervision of the school heads for all program-related functions. At the end of the day, the support aids shall report to the school head because assigned sila dun sa school mismo. Okay, let's go. Let's have a heart. Alam pa tayo, heart or thumbs up? If reading pa ho ako or yan. Okay, maraming salamat po to everyone. Okay. Sige, kanina po na na-discuss natin ay yung mga based on teaching, tutoring hours, di ba? Etc. So, paano natin minomonitor yon? Yung ating tutoring engagement. So, we monitor it by using Annex F. The Annex F is the DTR. No? The DTR ng ating aral tutors. So dito naka-indicate kung alin yung time in, time out, and remarks, etc. Ito yung magiging basis natin ng actual tutoring hours rendered ni tutor. No? Isa pa ang kailangan natin i-monitor bukod sa attendance ay accomplishment. Diba? Pati natin. For the accomplishment monitoring, Annex G. For Annex G, ito naman yung monthly accomplishment report. So, the TTR is per day, ang paglalag, pero pagdating dito sa monthly accomplishment report, monthly siya. No? So, makikita nyo, ang reporting ay weekly, yung kada row. So, dito natin ilalagay, sa accomplishment report, if sino-sino yung mga learners na ating naturuan. Okay? Yung napagtuturan natin. Ano yung mga learning sessions na na-implement. At alin naman, kumusta yung ating mga learners na ano yung feedback sa tutoring sessions, kumusta sila, ano yung naging progress nila, at doon sa accomplishments ko yun. So, ganun po yung ating accomplishment. And makikita natin ay monthly po siya. Okay? Okay, so but I just remind to everyone na please, no, mute yourselves po. Please mute lang po. Thank you. Okay. Yung next natin, ay paano naman yung mga ating mga support aids. So makikita nyo doon sa template natin, yung GNF ay can be used naman by GNF, FNG. By our, the annexes FNG ay pwede naman siyang gamitin ng ating mga support aids. No? Kailangan lang natin i-fill out yung mga applicable na lang na fields. Pero paano ngayon if you know, and also our support aids are also required to attend all of the LND or all of the capacity building activities. Magkakaroon orientation, you know, or training for support aids, they have to attend that because that is in preparation for their roles as support aids. Pero at the same time, yung accomplishment and yung attendance monitoring ay kailangan din i-comply yung support aids. The same template, the F and the G. However, paano nga lang kung si support aids ay connected siya with the other with external with other government agencies.
Ang libo to. Ay, 4,000. No? Magkasabot kasi.
O atang nakamute. Sige, i-mute ko na lang po. Thank you. Okay. Sige. Okay. Paano naman yun, yung support aids natin, no? Na externally sponsored. So, ibig sabihin, ay meron po sila, connected po sila sa other agencies, no? Or other NGOs. So, ang mag-a-apply pa rin ay kung ano yung kanilang guidelines ng kanilang sponsoring agency. Kung meron po silang sarili guidance on attendance monitoring, they should also follow it because they are engaged in such a way. No? Basta, hindi po siya mag-violate ng ating DepEd, existing DepEd rules and policies. Okay? So, I hope mas klaro ho yun, no? Lalo na iba yung natin, no? But ibang engagement ang meron kapag tayo ay may partner. Oh. Sige, let's go na ito. I think ito yung medyo maraming tanong ko, no? Ating remuneration and incentives. Sige. Let's go first muna sa ating mga DepEd teaching personnel. Okay? Sige, before we start nga, can I have some heart reacts ulit? Kasi, yan, we are already more than half of the presentation. Yeah. Konti na lang po. Sige. Okay, for the DepEd teaching personnel, isa sa mga benefits or remuneration na meron po ang ating mga DepEd teaching personnel ay teaching overload pay. So definitely po, meron na po tayong existing guidelines ng teaching overload pay, which is, RA 4670. So yun din po yung mag-a-apply. So yung teaching overload pay ay mag-a-apply lang po ito for regular school days. Okay? So for regular school days lang po siya, and especially those na ating mga teachers na nakapag-render na ng 6 hours of actual classroom teaching. Okay? Tapos po, as agreed and consistent with our DBM DepEd guidelines, ay it shall not exceed ng 2 hours. 2 hours based on the primary hourly teaching rate. Yung compensation ay 2 hours, maximum of 2 hours lang. Kaya kung mapapansin niyo sa presentation din ni Sir Maui rin ay maximum of 2 hours, no? Around 1 hour yung engagement. Ay at the same time din also din, parang hindi masyadong lengthy yung maging aral tutoring sessions natin since this may be conducted on weekends, on after school hours, di ba? Okay? And yung payment nito ay pursuant pa rin to existing guidelines that we have, for teaching overload day. So yun pa rin yung mag-a-apply. So I would like to emphasize that this is for regular school days. So paano po pag once ang ating aral tutoring sessions ay na-conduct naman po on weekends, on holidays, or long vacation. No? BST naman po, no? Ang gagamitin po on this. At ang ano po dito, pursuant din po ito ng ating guidance din ng DO13 po. Ngayon, I think a question din po ng iba ay paano po yun? Di ba mayroon pong 30-day limitation po sa alawa po ng BST for our teaching personnel na pwedeng ma-earn sa isang taon. No? Paano po yung pag nasa 30-day limitation na po ko, paano po yung mga BSC na acquire ko during my aral tutoring sessions? Yung itong earned service credit po ay on top or excluded pa siya sa 30-day limitation. Ganun po. Tapos yung ayun, yung additional compensation na ito to teachers ay subject pa rin to existing guidelines ng VSC. So hindi po siya kasama doon sa 30-day limitation na VSC. Kasi may mga teachers po tayo na na-meet na yung 30-day na allowable VSC. So this will be additional to that. So ano pa bukod dun sa incentive na for deputy teaching personnel? Definitely, the certificate of engagement that you have rendered as an aral tutor, as an actual tutor, indicating yung number of hours or days na sila ay nag-render, no? At itong 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 certificate na to ay pwede natin gamitin yan for promotion, no? Pursuant to our MSP, which is DO19 series of 2022 and DO7 series of 2023 as amended by DO21 series of 2024. So ganun po siya. Mako-consider po ito. It may be considered po as a relevant teaching experience. So that's all for deputy teaching personnel. Paano naman ng mga external tutors natin? For our external tutors naman, ang pwede naman dito ay yung certificate of engagement. Certificate of engagement, yung kukuha nila. Okay? So, una, certificate of engagement, na nakalagay din yung actual number of hours and days. At pwede nila itong gamitin pag mag-a-apply sila ng plantilla sa DepEd, o hindi lang din plantilla sa DepEd, baka sa ibang sa ibang institution, if na kailangan ng teaching experience, it may be private, it may be in the government. Ano pa yung matatanggap ng ating external tutors? Isa pa sa matatanggap ng ating external tutors ay additional remuneration, which is based sa primary hourly teaching rate ng isang teacher 1. The computation, the rigorous computation are in section 641 ng chapter 6 ng DBM manual on reclass and compensation. So doon natin mako-compute siya kung magkano. According to sa number of actual teaching hours, which is based yun ay yung accomplishment report. So paano yung pagbayad ng remuneration to external tutors? Is it weekly? Is it by monthly? The for this is monthly basis. Monthly basis ang pagbayad natin sa external tutors. And we are fortunate really. We are really fortunate, no? Having the largest budget for education, no, this fiscal year, no. So meron tayong budget for this. So the corresponding fund source for this will be released naman yung further guidance regarding remuneration. Do not worry, ay magkaroon po ng further issuance, no, ng finance and ng ating learning systems plan. So further guidance will be provided kung saan fund source natin kukunin to at paano yung pag-process po. So don't worry, we'll keep you in the loop on this. So for support aids, paano po, no? For support aids, since this is voluntary, ang engagement, ay ganun din ho, no? Wala pong expected din na remuneration for our support aids. However, for those support aids natin na merong support at merong funded ng kanilang partner agencies or ibang government agencies, kung meron po silang incentive and remuneration sa kanilang engagement with their sponsoring agency, ay mag-apply yun. So, pwede natin naman pipigilan yun kung meron silang ganun engagement or arrangement. Pero for all other support aids, no, lahat naman sila ay magbibigyan siyempre ng certificate of recognition and engagement, no. Same na indicating kung ano yung hours na ni-render nila. Ang basis natin, accomplishment report. Kaya importante po yung accomplishment report. Okay, so I think that's most of the screening and the engagement concerns. I will go lang. This is, I think, one of the last parts of my presentation. We would just like to emphasize key provisions of the engagement contract. Una, data privacy. You have included data privacy clauses in the contract. But do not worry, the contract po is in Annex Annex E, no? Na provided din po doon sa issued natin na DepEd memorandum, no? So nakalagay naman na po 'yon yung contract. And template po ng contract, no? So we would like to emphasize that all of the data and information that you have, no, regarding your engagement with ARAL should be protected, no? Not only during the term of your engagement, and even after, no, na ma-terminate yung agreement nyo, you have to protect it. We have to remind everyone na learners' data to, di ba? So it's a very sensitive data that we have. So please, no, let's protect the data that was entrusted by us, no? That was entrusted to the tutors, no? Next is, isa din doon ay yung data na meron din na binigyan pinagkatiwala, no, ng DepEd sa mga tutors ay hindi dapat i-reproduce o ipakalat sa iba o magkaroon ng data leakage sa any third party. Lalo na ngayon, no, may mga iba na nagbebenta ng data nagbibita ng data to third party. So please, hindi po pwede po yun. Okay? The termination of the contract. So how does the contract may be terminated? Una, either parties, the first party, the DepEd SDO, SDS, and the second party, which is the engaged tutor, they may pre-terminate the agreement. Ibig sabihin, i-terminate earlier yung agreement. Pero kailangan na mag-send ng written notice to the other party regarding sa pag-terminate. So at least 30 days prior to sa termination. Pero as may be necessary, the party may waive the 30-day waiting period. So kung sino man yung mabigyan ng sulat ng ita-terminate yung contract at least 30 days prior, pwede naman yung hindi nahintayin yung 30 days at i-terminate agad yung contract. At the same time na the first party, which is the DepEd SDO, SDS, ay maaari din i-terminate yung agreement anytime for unsatisfactory performance, conflict of interest, or any grounds na ma-determine the first party that has merits to terminate the contract as they deem necessary. Any provisions of the contract ay na mava-violate po ay can be a ground to termination. So ilang po yung gusto namin emphasize yung termination and yung data privacy clauses. So some transitory provisions, so alam natin na may mga schools na po tayo na nakapag-engage na po ng mga ating aral tutors. So lang some transitory provisions po, since na-issue na po rin po itong DM and prior ay may mga nakapag-implement na rin po prior to the effectivity ng guidelines, ay kaya lang po natin, don't worry po yung mga tutors and support aides po natin na merong contract na before yung implementation ng DM na ito ay bilang pa rin naman po ang kanilang service, ang kanilang service rather as a tutor. So recognize pa rin naman po yun. Kaya nga lang ho ay yun nga, we have to ensure nga yung mga qualifications and requirements under the guidelines ay mako-comply. Ito. Next is ito po, upon effectivity ng within 30 days, pagka-effect po ng ating DM po, we have to check lang po yung mga existing natin na mga tutors, external tutors, and support aides if they are meeting the qualifications and meron ba silang meron ba silang documentary submission. So para lang po, we have to ensure na kompleto, lalo na yung mga mandatory documents na kailangan masubmit po ng ating mga applicants, and of course yung attendance monitoring, yung monthly accomplishment report. Ayun. Kaya lang po yung mga past nila ay ma-comply yung mga documents na yun na kailangan pong masubmit. So basically we are realigning already the current practices that we have in the field, in the ground to this guidelines. Paano naman po yung mayroon ng current po na engagement, or current na templates, So yun, adjust mo natin or i-renew natin if needed. Using yung mga templates na meron tayo na provided in the DM, the ANS A to G. Kailangan po ay ma-transition natin, ma-adjust natin na to follow. At ang gagamitin natin from now on ay yung mga provided po na na templates na meron tayo. Okay? Tapos, we would like to remind na kung magkakaroon po ng renewal and new engagement sa aral tutor, lalo na for example, kailangan i-renew ulit yung kanyang contract, ay hindi dapat siya beyond the transition period. As much as possible, if kaya po ng ating mga AOs, ating mga officials po sa field, if kaya po, not beyond the transition period, which is 30 days. Pero yun. I think that's all for the transitory provisions, and that's all for my presentation.
Like and subscribe to the L&D channel on YouTube using the link youtube.com/@learn2lead channel.